Good evening. Leading our news bulletin tonight, the recent trip by Minister Macaulay and his delegation to Niue this week saw him visit some of the New Zealand-funded projects on the island. Included in his itinerary was a visit to the Niue government, in which Honourable Premier Toke Talangi made a presentation on Niue's economic status and developments. Much of the talk previously was about the reduction in aid assistance from New Zealand, mainly the budget component, and Premier Talangi said Niue needs to accept New Zealand's situation as well and realise the extended contribution to other areas of development.
We've got to accept the fact that New Zealand is not in itself doing well at the present moment for a variety of reasons. So we've got to be realistic in what we can expect from New Zealand. And therefore we have agreed to the reduction. This is not an unrealistic expectation on our part to ensure that in fact we meet our expectations within the amount of assistance that New Zealand gives us, which is still extremely generous. What we need to do is make sure that we maximise the utilisation and prioritise the things that we need to do with the funds that New Zealand provides for us. And as we know, budget support is one key element. The asset maintenance is the other, as well as the money given to us to develop the tourism industry that we have at the present time.
Now, as you said, even though the assistance towards the budget has been reduced, but Minister Macaulay has also explained the expenditure towards the tourism industry. Are you pleased with some of the developments that has been happening with the funds that's been injected into that industry?
Yes, of course. I'm very, very pleased. And I think the only reservations that I have at the present moment with the tourism industry, for example, is that there's a degree of catch-up that needs to be done with some of the other businesses that are obviously not doing as well as they could out of the tourism flagship that we have in Maravai Resort. But this is something that we need to work on ourselves, and I'll really talk to the Chamber of Commerce about some of the things that we can do to incentivise people who come to the state of Maravai Resort to go out and eat and take tours and so on in the eateries that we have outside. Because I think there is a degree of syncopation, there is a degree of lag, if you wish. What we need to do is create an environment where we have a second service that we can have up to 14,000 people coming here annually. And then that number in itself will generate sufficient businesses to enable those businesses to continue to do extremely well. And I think that's the objective ultimately. We need to achieve those particular figures. But at the present moment, I'm extremely happy with the amount of money that has been devoted to tourism. We could perhaps spend them slightly better, but at the same time, those are things that we need to focus our attention on.
The funds for the tourism developments was questioned by some of the smaller businesses as to the distribution of promotions and marketing of the funds. And Premier Talangi said government is looking at areas to assist the smaller businesses.
As I said just before, we are looking at trying to see whether we can in fact inject some money directly into those businesses by way of incentives, in the sense that we will provide vouchers, pay for vouchers where they can go and use them at certain eating places and so on, so that they can attract some of the other people who go and eat in those places as well. I'm really aware of that. We've really realised that about a year ago, I think, and we were really talking about incentive programs to enable us to get people not just to eat at Maravai, but also go out and eat elsewhere.
When asked of reports from overseas that New Zealand and Australia will discontinue contributions into Niue's trust funds, Premier Toke Talangi said he has not heard of the idea and has not discussed with the two countries over the suggestions of the report that contributions into the trust fund will be discontinued. An incident involving 3 public servants on Monday landed one in prison for his efforts. Chief of Police Mark Chenry said police were called to an incident involving 3 males who were all intoxicated Monday afternoon. He said one male was arrested and spent the rest of the day and night in prison. Chief Chenry said police are still investigating and speaking to witnesses in regards to the incident. It is believed the 3 public servants were drinking during working hours when the incident happened. Niue's only commercial bank, the Bank of the South Pacific, is likely to end its operations on the island this year. According to Honourable Premier Toke Talangi, there has been a review of the banking sector.
Yeah, we're looking at a number of options at the present moment, and I think I've said this in the past. There are two people helping us to look at the options, including, in fact, BSP, because we're, as I've said to you, we haven't been totally happy, not necessarily with BSP, but also with our ability to generate or to extract money from tourism when they come here. So we've had to have a look at our banking systems to determine which is the best way to move forward from where we are at the present moment. We have identified two possible options, and we are working on those at the present time. We have to make an announcement on this within a very short time, and I'm talking about August.
Is it true that new government is looking at using IndieB as part of the commercial bank?
We're looking at a number of options, and when the two consultants came here last time, they were looking at a number of options. It is clear that we don't necessarily have the infrastructure here, the financial infrastructure, to cope with this sort of thing. So therefore, we've got to determine what is the best infrastructure that we need to put in place to enable us to, in fact, deal with these particular issues. So there will be a consultant coming out here to evaluate those particular options and then determine what we should be doing in partnership with whatever institutions we agree to, or bank in New Zealand that will agree to operate services here in whatever form.
And that is Honourable Premier Toke Talangi. Niue Power Corporation's new initiative to inspect household electrical concerns during village inspections has been applauded by many. The program to visit each village with the health inspection team has also been strongly supported by the department's Minister, Honourable Kupa Mangtongia, as a way to assist those whose electrical issues could lead to serious problems. General Manager for Niue Power Corporation, Speedo Hetutu, said the department will look to assist requests from homes, inspect and repair the damage, preferably with no costs or at minimal cost to the customer. The main focus, he said, is to ensure the safety and proper usage of power supplied to homes and the main grid. Mr. Hetutu said he wants all customers to feel they can approach the department with concerns and not worry they will need to pay, as the department will only request payment for extra parts from stores if it is necessary, but it is always best to inspect and diagnose to ensure the safety of customers. 5 years of work and research is about to pay off as Niue takes the lead to finalise the first Wangahau Niue Thesaurus. The project, initiated by the Education Department, is part of efforts to increase the status and appreciation of Wangahau Niue as a language and to enhance literature written in the mother tongue. The journey has been interesting with limited resources, but assistance from Dr. Robert Early, a lexicographer from the University of the South Pacific, has been rewarding, drawing from his expertise and working closely with language specialists on the island to develop the thesaurus.
It's the first thesaurus for any language in the Pacific region, just like the monolingual dictionary that was produced by the same team here a few years ago. That was the first for the South Pacific region, and now Niue is leading the way again with this thesaurus, and that's been the main involvement here over the last 2 weeks, working with the two wonderful language experts up here at the Department of Education, Sifa and Hula, that everybody will know. And they've done a great amount of work since our last workshop a couple of years ago, and pretty much the bulk of the work has been done. So now we're just doing the final touches, and I think we're looking to a completion fairly soon. Development
of the Wangahau Niue Thesaurus is not only a milestone for Niue, but also for the Pacific region, as this will be the first thesaurus in a Pacifica language. The shop shelves have started to look a bit bare, so the sight of the MV Southern Express this morning was a reprieve for locals and businesses. The boat's arrival over the past few months has been off schedule, raising some concerns with local businesses and customers. Reef Shipping is the only shipping company servicing the island, and Premier Tokitalangi says there are provisions within the agreement with Reef Shipping relating to the consistency of the boat coming to the island, but there are factors beyond their control that cause delays.
The shipping agreement says that it's got to be here every 28, 30 days or whatever. We can't control ships in the same manner as we can planes. Although sometimes the planes will have mechanical breakdowns, or the skies are going to be too dangerous for them to fly. In many respects, a ship is the same. Mechanically, I think the last time that we had problems with the ship arriving here late was because there was a mechanical problem with a fuel pump or water pump in the thing. Ships don't like being idle. It's like any business. If your business stops and nobody comes in the shop, you don't like that. You want people to continue to come. That's the same as ship. So when the ship is held up because of storms or because of weather or because it's because of some mechanical problem, they hate that because they're losing money. So therefore, yes, we do have an agreement for them to be consistent in their schedules. The unfortunate incidents over the past, I think, 2 months has been the fact that there were mechanical problems that the ship suffered. Your question with respect to whether they can change the ships, yes, they can, as long as they maintain the schedules and as long as they don't increase the freight rates.
Previously, the Niue Chamber of Commerce had been looking at alternative options, but Premier Talangi says that government at this stage is open to listen to concerns, but will not be looking at any other shipping lines. Shipping is serious business, and although there have been some delays, the current agreement remains. Many who were at the wharf today were more fascinated by the number of vehicles that came off the boat, 22 in total, and work on the boat continues. That is the conclusion of our news for tonight. We do hope that you can join us again next week for our next news bulletin, and may you all have an enjoyable weekend ahead.